Well, let's get you more on that story, then bring in our reporter, Juniour Khumalo, who was listening into those proceedings at the Constitutional Court. Juniour, let's talk about the requirement around the signatures, because the independents have also been quite concerned about that.
Indeed, Tembegile, there's been a lot of concerns from the independent candidates about the signatures, because initially there was a 15% requirement in terms of signatures, 15% of the number of votes that are required for them to receive a seat in the National Assembly, meaning that it's about 10,000 and 14,000 signatures that were required. But the Constitutional Court has ruled that now they only need 1,000 signatures, which was the requirement for political parties before the amendment of this act.
Let's have a listen, actually. I don't know if we've got that, but in fact, I want to talk to you about the reaction, because this issue, given that next year will be South Africa's possibly biggest election since 1994, the most significant 30 years of democracy, everyone is quite invested in this. What are we hearing in the reaction?
No, it's definitely going to be a big talking point when it comes to next year's elections. We know the IEC has already come out and spoken about the judgment today. They're saying that this judgment allows them now to go ahead and prepare for next year's elections. We know just about a few weeks ago, when there was a voter registration that was happening, South Africans living abroad could not register online because the Electoral Commission could not change the act and allow them to register online. So with this judgment, now they are allowed to register online. But we also had reactions from other independent candidates that are going to be taking part in next year's elections. We know one of those was Zakir Ahmed, and this is what he had to say.
I've had to put hundreds of volunteers onto the streets to get the more than 13,000 signatures that we've now collected. And if you're collecting 13,000, you must speak to at least 10 times or 5 times the amount more to try and convince people. The amount of money spent on that is close to 700,000 rand, and that is unjust. It is easier to spend that money on convincing people to vote for you rather than asking people to recognize your right to stand on a ballot, because I got signatures from people who wanted to vote for the ANC, who wanted to vote for the DA, but to recognize the fact that I have a right to stand. So the 15,000 signature, I could reach it, A, because I'm known, very widely known in the province, and secondly, that I am associated with a large number of movements on whose activists I could draw. However, a poor working class candidate who is a farm worker in, let's say, the Winelands district, and she is very popular, she's done great work in the community, she won't be able to afford that. So it's an unjust measure in that way too.
And briefly then, Juniour, let's talk about the Independent Electoral Commission. It wasn't directly involved in these legal proceedings, but they are significant to its work ahead of the elections.
Indeed. We saw the IEC chairperson was there actually when the judgment was handed down. The deputy CEO was also there. But they've also since released a statement saying that they definitely welcome this judgment. And now it allows them to do the work of having the elections being held between May and August next year. Because the further the delay was with this judgment, the less time they had to prepare themselves for these elections. So with this judgment now, they have the go-ahead to prepare for the elections.
Juniour Khumalo, thank you very much for that. Juniour, keeping an eye on the latest from the Constitutional Court.